What's going on, everyone? Corey here with Airbender FPV. Today we're checking out the BETAFPV Air75 II Champion version. This is going to be more of a beginner-friendly unboxing and first look. Now look, it's been a minute. I've been busy with work, life, and every other thing in between. So I hadn't been able to get as many videos out as I wanted, but trust me, the FPV bug is here to stay. And this little tiny whoop has been sitting on my desk for a while, and I'm just getting around to opening it. So today we're gonna finally get into it. Now, before we go too deep into this, let me say this up front. This video is really for the newbies just like myself. I'm not here to act like I'm some pro pilot that's gonna break down all the technical details of this drone. I'm still learning, I'm still crashing, and I'm still figuring out what I like and what works for me. So in this video, I'm only gonna touch on some of the technical specs, and then I'm gonna talk about this drone in everyday terms. How does it look? How does it feel? Does it seem beginner friendly? And since it is the Champion version, I want to see if that means it can still be managed by a newbie like me, or if it feels like it's about to take off without me. That's the kind of stuff I care about. All right, let's open this thing up. Right away, this is a clean little box. Beta FPV has always done a good job in keeping the box simple and good looking. And I actually appreciate that as a beginner, because when you're new to FPV, everything already can feel so overwhelming. You got batteries, charger, radios, goggles, Betaflight binding rates, VTX settings. It's just a lot. So when I open a drone and it feels simple and straight to the point, that already makes me feel better. All right, here it is. This is the Beta FPV Air75 II Champion version. First impressions. This thing is light, clean, and it looks like it's built to move. Now let's talk about a few specs, but I'm gonna keep it simple. The Air75 II is a 75mm tiny whoop, so it's bigger than something like the Air65, but still small enough to be considered a tiny whoop. This one is the Champion version, which means it's the more power-focused version of the Air75 II lineup. It has 0802 28,000 kV dual ball bearing motors, Gem Fan 1614 3-blade props, a Matrix 1S 5-in-1 flight controller, onboard ELRS 2.4 GHz, and onboard 5.8 GHz analog video. And the Champion version weigh about 20.2 grams without the battery. Now in regular people terms, that means it should be very spicy. The Champion version is basically made for those people that want more speed, more punch, and more aggressive power. That would be me. Now again, I'm not saying that I'm flying like a champion. I'm just saying that's the version that I got. And I've always been taught if you're gonna do it, do it. So from a newbie perspective, I want to see if this thing feels controllable or if it's going to humble me real quick. The easiest way I can explain this is something like the Air65 that I have, the first version, feels like something that you can fly around the house through doorways, around furniture, and tight spaces. A 75mm whoop like this Air75 II should give you a little more room to breathe. In theory, it should feel more planted, a little smoother, and maybe a little bit better outside. But you do have to consider I do have the Champion version. So I'm actually expecting the battery to drain faster, more punch, and for this drone not to be chill at all. With that being said, this is definitely not going to be the slowest or the calmest 75mm whoop out there. But for me, that's what makes this interesting. Can a newbie still enjoy the Champion version? Or is this one a little bit better for someone that has more stick time? I could probably answer that for you now. Probably going to be better for someone with more stick time. But hey, I try things. And that's what I wanted to find out. So what's inside the box? We got a drone itself. We got some extra props. Looks like the normal accessory pack with the connector that you connected to Betaflight with. Some extra screws, extra canopy, and of course a way to get to your digital manual. That's one thing I like to say to you beginners. Don't just buy the drone and think that you guys are ready to fly, because it doesn't work like that. Make sure you know what connector it uses, what batteries you'll need, what charger, and whether it matches your radio and your goggles. Because nothing's worse than getting something out of the box and then you realize I can't just go out there and just go fly it, because it's more to it. Just remember, guys, when you get into these type of drones, it's just a little bit more to it. This has a really clean look, and I really like how they did the orange with the motors. That looks really good. Frame is really light, but it doesn't feel like a toy. I will say it doesn't feel like it has as much give as the Air65 that I have. The ducts look good, canopy looks nice, and everything is tucked in pretty clean. And with this being the Champion version, I already know this little thing is probably gonna have some attitude. It makes me want to throw a battery in it right now and just take off. Speaking of batteries, I'll show you the batteries that I did get for this thing. Of course, the Lava 2s, and these are gonna be the 580. I already have the 680s. I did want something a little bit smaller, so I'm probably gonna get a set of the 480s as well. But right now I have the 580s. We're gonna see how well these work. The reason I wanted to check out the Air75 II Champion version, because I really enjoy tiny whoops. They're small, they're not as intimidating. You can fly them in more places. You don't need a giant field. You don't need a huge setup. And as someone that's still learning FPV, whoops make it a whole lot easier to get stick time. And that's the biggest thing for me right now, stick time. I really don't care about how fast that drone is if I'm afraid to fly it. I want something that I can actually use, crash, learn from, and get better with. And with the Champion version, I'm curious to see if that extra power will help me grow, or will it expose just how much I need to learn. Either way, I'm gonna find out. Famous last word. For a beginner, I think the Air75 II sits in an interesting spot. It's not as tiny as the 65mm whoop, but it's not as big as an 85mm or a 2.5 drone. So it may be a nice middle ground, small enough to still feel safe, but big enough to maybe handle a little more space and outdoor flying. But this Champion version adds another question. Is more power better for a beginner, or is it something you have to grow into? That is what I'm really curious to test. Can I fly this comfortably? Does it feel too fast? Does it feel smooth? Does it feel twitchy? Can I actually fly this? Can a newbie like myself actually enjoy this without being overwhelmed? That's what I'm gonna find out in the next video, or later in this video, just depending on how I edit. I want to get this bound to my radio, throw some batteries in it, see how it feels. I may test it indoors, but I probably won't, because I think it's gonna be a little bit too much for indoors. I could be wrong. I want to test it outside, and hopefully we have some wind, because I do want to test it in the wind as well. And I definitely want to compare it to some of my other drones, especially the Air65, which I thought at one point in time the Meteor 75 was my favorite, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Air65 now. But I love them all, because I really think a lot of beginners are asking the same thing. Do I go with a 65mm, 75mm, 85mm? Do I get the Champion version if I do get an Air75? Or do I just buy whatever looks cool and hope for the best? And honestly, I've done that too. But I do a whole lot of research before I buy anything. So I'm doing some research for you guys, based on a newbie perspective, of course. So that was my first look and unboxing of the Air75 II Champion version. So far, I like the size, and I'm excited to see how it flies from a beginner point of view. This is supposed to be a more powerful version. Is it gonna have me sweating on the sticks like my Mario Mini 25 did? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Are you flying the Air75 II Champion version? Or are you flying the Air65 first version, the second version? Or do you think 75mm is a sweet spot for tiny whoops? Till next time, guys, I'm Corey with Airbender FPV. Learn to bend the wind one flight at a time.